The first time she walked into the shelter, she almost turned back. The smell, the noise, the quiet sadness in the eyes of strangers, it was overwhelming. But what she witnessed just weeks later would change not only her life, but the life of someone no one else believed in. Emma never thought of herself as someone extraordinary. She was just a regular woman in her early 30s, living in a small apartment in Ohio, working a 9-to-5 job, and trying to find meaning beyond her routine. Life felt fine. But fine wasn't enough anymore. One cold November evening, scrolling through her phone, she came across a post about a local homeless shelter looking for volunteers. Something about it pulled her in. Maybe it was the tired look in the photo of a man holding a cardboard sign. Maybe it was the quiet voice inside her that whispered, "You can do more." The next Saturday, she showed up. The building was old, with chipped paint and a flickering light above the entrance. As she stepped inside, the warmth hit her first. Then the sounds, low conversations, coughing, the clinking of dishes. Her heart raced. A staff member greeted her with a kind smile and handed her an apron. "We're glad you're here," she said. Emma nodded, unsure if she was ready for what she had just signed up for. Her first task was simple: serve meals. She stood behind a long table, scooping mashed potatoes and vegetables onto plates. One by one, people came forward. Some avoided eye contact. Some whispered thank you. Others said nothing at all. Then he walked up. He looked different from the others. Not just because of his worn-out jacket or unshaven face, but because of the way he carried himself, guarded, distant, almost broken. "Next," Emma said softly. He didn't respond at first. Just stood there, staring at the floor. "Hi," she tried again, offering a small smile. Slowly, he looked up. His eyes were tired, but there was something else, pain that seemed too deep to explain. "Food?" she asked gently. He nodded. She handed him a plate, but as their hands brushed, he flinched slightly, as if human contact was unfamiliar or unwanted. "Thank you," he muttered, barely audible. And then he was gone. Emma couldn't explain why, but something about that moment stayed with her. Over the next few weeks, she kept coming back. Every Saturday. Same time. Same apron. She started recognizing faces. Learning names. Hearing bits of stories. But the man, she didn't know his name. He always kept to himself, sitting in the same corner, eating quietly, leaving quickly. One evening, she decided to change that. After her shift, instead of heading home, she picked up 2 cups of coffee and walked over to his table. "Mind if I sit?" she asked. He looked surprised. Hesitant. Then, after a pause, he nodded. "I'm Emma," she said, placing 1 cup in front of him. He stared at it for a moment before speaking. "Daniel." It was the first time she heard his voice clearly. They sat in silence for a while, sipping coffee. It wasn't uncomfortable, just new. "You come here a lot," Emma said carefully. Daniel shrugged. Nowhere else to go. There was no self-pity in his voice. Just a simple statement of fact. Over time, their conversations grew. Not quickly. Not easily. But slowly, like a door opening inch by inch. Emma learned that Daniel wasn't always like this. He used to have a job. A small apartment. a normal life. But after losing his mother, the only family he had, everything began to fall apart. Depression took over. He lost his job, then his home, and eventually, his hope. "I stopped trying," he admitted one night. "Didn't see the point anymore." Emma listened. Not with judgment. Not with pity. Just presence. Weeks turned into months. Something began to shift. At first, it was small things. Daniel started making eye contact more often. He began helping stack chairs after meals. One day, Emma noticed him laughing, just for a second, but it was enough. "You're different," she told him. He frowned slightly. "How?" "You're here, but you're also coming back." He didn't respond, but she could tell he was thinking about it. Then came the turning point. One evening, the shelter announced they were looking for someone to help with basic maintenance, cleaning, organizing, small repairs. It wasn't a full-time job, but it came with a small paycheck. Emma glanced at Daniel. He looked away. "You should try," she whispered. "I'm not ready," he said quickly. "You don't have to be perfect," she replied. "Just willing." Days passed. Then, one Saturday, he walked up to the staff desk. "I'll do it," he said. It wasn't easy. The first few days, he struggled. Doubt crept in. Old habits tried to pull him back. But Emma didn't let him give up. She showed up. Encouraged him. Reminded him of how far he had already come. "You're not the same person you were," she said one afternoon. "Feels like I am," he replied. "Then feel it," she smiled. "But don't believe it." Something about those words stayed with him. Slowly, change became visible. Daniel started taking pride in his work. He fixed broken shelves. Cleaned areas no one paid attention to. He even began greeting people at the door. "Hey," he would say. "Welcome." The same man who once avoided eye contact was now the first face people saw. One evening, as Emma arrived, she paused at the entrance. The place felt different. Lighter. Warmer. She stepped inside and saw Daniel talking to a new guest, showing him where to sit, making sure he had food. For a moment, she just stood there, watching. Tears filled her eyes. Not because she was sad, but because she was witnessing something incredible. Transformation. Real, human, powerful transformation. Later that night, Daniel walked over to her. "I got offered more hours," he said, trying to sound casual, but his smile gave him away. "That's amazing," Emma said, hugging him without thinking. This time, he didn't flinch. Months later, Daniel moved into a small shared apartment. He continued working at the shelter, but now, he was also helping others find their way back. One day, a new volunteer asked Emma, "How long has Daniel been working here?" She smiled. "Long enough to change someone's life." The volunteer nodded. "Whose?" Emma looked across the room at Daniel, who was laughing with a group of guests. She whispered, "Mine." Because kindness doesn't just change the person receiving it. It changes the person giving it too. Emma came to the shelter thinking she was there to help others. But what she found was something deeper. Connection. Purpose. Hope. And Daniel. He found something even more powerful. A reason to keep going. A reason to believe in himself again. All because one person chose to sit down and say hello. If this story moved you, remember this. Kindness doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes, it's as simple as showing up. Listening. Caring. Because you never know whose life you might change. Or how it might change yours. And maybe, just maybe, the world becomes a little brighter, one small act of kindness at a time.